For centuries, most people have imagined angels as gentle figures floating among clouds, carrying harps and singing peaceful songs. Paintings, movies, and popular culture have shaped an image that feels comforting, familiar, and harmless. But what if that image is completely wrong? The Bible presents a far more astonishing reality. It describes beings covered with eyes, creatures with multiple faces, warriors so overwhelming that people often collapsed in fear when they appeared. Again and again, their first words were not greetings, but a command. Do not be afraid. Why? Because they were not decorations of heaven. They were soldiers. According to Scripture, a hidden conflict has been unfolding since the dawn of human history. Powerful spiritual beings battle over territories, resist one another, carry out divine assignments, and participate in events that influence nations and individuals alike. These conflicts do not take place in a distant universe. The Bible suggests they occur in a realm that exists alongside our own. Most Christians believe angels exist, yet many have little understanding of what angels actually do, how they operate, or why their activity matters today. What if there is far more happening around you than you realize? What if some of the delays, struggles, and unanswered questions in your life involve realities you cannot see? Today we will explore what Scripture reveals about the spirit realm, the battlefield of angels, the weapons they carry, the legal authority behind spiritual warfare, and the connection between prayer and heavenly intervention. And before we begin, if you enjoy discovering the deeper truths hidden within Scripture, consider subscribing to the channel and joining our growing community of Bible explorers. The story begins in the Old Testament during the ministry of the prophet Elisha. The kingdom of Syria was searching for him. Frustrated by Elisha's prophetic insight, the Syrian king sent horses, chariots, and a large military force to surround the city of Dothan. Their mission was simple: capture the prophet. Early the next morning, Elisha's servant stepped outside and saw the enemy army surrounding the city. Fear immediately overwhelmed him. He rushed back and cried out, "What shall we do?" Yet Elisha remained calm. Instead of panicking, he made a remarkable statement. "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." From a human perspective, the claim seemed impossible. The servant could see only 2 men inside the city and an entire army outside its walls. Then Elisha prayed. But he did not ask God to send help. He did not ask for reinforcements. Instead, he prayed, "Lord, open his eyes so that he may see." Suddenly, the servant's vision changed. The hills surrounding Dothan were filled with horses and chariots of fire. An enormous heavenly army had already been present. This detail changes everything. The prayer did not create the army. The prayer revealed what was already there. Scripture suggests that the spirit realm is not far away. It exists alongside the physical world, hidden from ordinary perception. This concept appears throughout the Bible. The Hebrew word often translated as heaven is shamayim, a plural word that can be translated as heavens. Ancient Jewish understanding recognized multiple heavens. The first heaven referred to the sky above the earth. The second referred to the stars and cosmic space. The third heaven referred to God's dwelling place. The Apostle Paul later described being caught up to the third heaven. Yet the account of Elisha reveals something important. The spiritual realm is not necessarily separated by distance. Instead, it appears to overlap with our reality. The servant did not travel anywhere. His eyes were simply opened. This idea becomes even more fascinating in the book of Daniel. There, a heavenly messenger describes being delayed by a mysterious figure called the Prince of Persia. This prince was clearly not the human ruler of Persia. No earthly king could physically block a heavenly being. Instead, Scripture points toward a spiritual authority connected to a geographic territory. The messenger later mentions the coming Prince of Greece as well. These references reveal a hidden layer of reality operating behind earthly kingdoms. The Bible presents a world where spiritual forces interact with nations, influence events, and participate in conflicts that remain invisible to human eyes. The battlefield exists. The conflict is real, and according to Scripture, humanity has been living in the middle of it all along. If there is a battlefield, there must also be soldiers. So who exactly are angels? The Bible immediately challenges one of the most common assumptions. Angels are not humans who have died. They are a separate, created order. The Apostle Paul teaches that all visible and invisible powers were created through Christ. Angels, therefore, had a beginning. They were created by God for specific purposes. Even more surprising, Scripture teaches that redeemed believers will one day judge angels. Humanity does not become angels after death. The two groups remain distinct. The Hebrew word commonly translated as angel is malach, meaning messenger. Yet the biblical picture reveals a highly organized hierarchy. Among the most fascinating are the seraphim. Isaiah saw them surrounding God's throne, proclaiming, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty." These beings appear closely connected with worship, holiness, and purification. One seraph touched Isaiah's lips with a burning coal, symbolizing cleansing and preparation for service. Another group appears in the visions of Ezekiel. These are the cherubim. Unlike popular artwork, they are described as extraordinary creatures possessing 4 faces, 4 wings, and eyes covering their bodies. They are associated with God's throne and His presence. Their appearance inspires awe rather than comfort. Then there is Michael. Scripture identifies him as an archangel and a protector of God's people. Unlike ordinary messengers, Michael functions as a military commander. His role becomes especially significant in prophetic passages where spiritual conflict intensifies. The scale of heaven's armies is hinted at by Jesus himself. During his arrest, Jesus declared that he could call upon more than 12 legions of angels if he desired. A Roman legion contained thousands of soldiers. The implication is staggering. Heaven possesses organized military forces beyond human comprehension. Yet angels are not merely warriors. Hebrews describes them as ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation. They carry assignments. They fulfill missions. They act under divine authority. And many of those assignments involve people. At this point, the biblical picture looks very different from popular imagination. Angels are not passive observers. They are active participants in God's purposes. The New Testament further confirms that believers face opposition, not merely from physical circumstances, but from invisible powers and authorities. Paul writes that our struggle is not against flesh and blood. The true conflict operates on another level. This framework helps explain why Scripture repeatedly emphasizes prayer, faithfulness, and spiritual awareness. The Christian life is not presented as a journey through a neutral environment. It is portrayed as life within a contested world. If this discussion is helping you see familiar Bible passages in a new way, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear which biblical account of angels fascinates you most. Because once we understand who these heavenly beings are, another question naturally follows. If angels truly serve as warriors and messengers, what tools and authority have they been given to accomplish their mission? The answer reveals some of the most mysterious images in all of Scripture. The Bible describes angels carrying out tasks that go far beyond anything we normally associate with spiritual beings. One of the earliest examples appears immediately after humanity's expulsion from Eden. God stationed cherubim at the entrance to the garden with a flaming sword that moved in every direction. Its purpose was to guard access to the tree of life. This was not simply a weapon. It symbolized authority, protection, and divine judgment. Later, Joshua encountered a mysterious figure identified as the commander of the Lord's army. The commander stood with a drawn sword, signaling authority over heavenly forces. A similar image appears when an angel stands over Jerusalem with a sword extended toward the city. Again, the sword represents the power to execute divine decisions, yet Scripture introduces even stranger imagery. In Revelation, an angel descends holding a key to the abyss and a great chain. With these instruments, the angel restrains Satan and confines him for 1,000 years. The image suggests authority over realms and boundaries beyond human understanding. But perhaps the most important weapon described in Scripture is connected directly to prayer. Revelation presents a remarkable scene in heaven. An angel stands before God's altar, holding a golden censer. The prayers of God's people are gathered and offered before the throne. Then, fire from the altar is combined with those prayers. The angel casts the contents back toward the earth. The result is dramatic movement and intervention. The message is profound. Prayer is not portrayed as empty words disappearing into space. It enters a divine system. It is received, it is presented, and it becomes part of God's activity within the world. Another prophetic vision describes heavenly chariots traveling throughout the earth, observing events and carrying out assignments. Together, these images reveal angels as agents who execute God's purposes across creation. But there is another dimension of spiritual warfare that many people overlook. The Bible presents conflict not only as military engagement, but also as legal conflict. One of the clearest examples appears in Zechariah chapter 3. Joshua the high priest stands before the Lord wearing filthy garments. His clothing symbolizes sin and human failure. Standing nearby is Satan. Yet Satan is not attacking with force. He is accusing. The setting resembles a courtroom. A legal case is being presented. The Lord rebukes the accusation. Joshua's filthy garments are removed. Clean garments are placed upon him. The outcome is determined not by physical combat, but by legal judgment. A similar principle appears in the book of Jude. Michael disputes with Satan concerning the body of Moses. Remarkably, Michael does not issue his own judgment. Instead, he appeals to God's authority. The Lord rebuke you. This detail reveals a crucial principle. Even powerful angels operate under divine authority. They enforce God's verdicts rather than acting independently. The book of Revelation identifies Satan as the accuser of believers. Day and night he brings accusations before God. Yet Scripture also declares the basis of victory: the blood of the Lamb. The sacrifice of Christ provides the legal foundation that cancels condemnation. Because of that verdict, accusations lose their authority. The cross becomes the decisive victory. Angels enforce what God has already declared. They do not create salvation. They carry out the implications of God's judgment. Understanding this changes how we view spiritual warfare. It is not merely a struggle of strength against strength. It is also a matter of authority, truth, and divine justice. And nowhere is this reality illustrated more clearly than in the experience of the prophet Daniel. Daniel chapter 10 offers one of the most revealing glimpses into the unseen realm. For 21 days, Daniel fasted and prayed. He sought understanding regarding the future of Israel. Day after day passed. No answer came. No vision appeared. No explanation arrived. From Daniel's perspective, heaven seemed silent. Then, on the 21st day, everything changed. A heavenly messenger appeared with an appearance so glorious that Daniel collapsed in fear. The messenger immediately delivered astonishing news. From the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding, your words were heard. The answer had been sent the moment Daniel began praying. Yet the messenger explained that he had been delayed. The prince of Persia had resisted him for 21 days. Only after Michael arrived to help was the messenger able to continue his mission. For Daniel, the silence had felt like abandonment. In reality, a conflict had been taking place beyond his sight. This passage provides one of the Bible's clearest explanations for delayed answers to prayer. God had heard, heaven had responded, but opposition existed. Daniel never saw the battle. He only experienced the waiting. Many believers throughout history have shared that same experience. The lesson is not that every delay has the same explanation. Rather, the passage reminds us that silence does not always mean inactivity. God may be working in ways that remain hidden from human understanding. Daniel's persistence became part of the story. He continued praying when he had no visible evidence that anything was happening. And eventually, the breakthrough arrived. When we place all these passages together, a remarkable picture emerges. Scripture describes a spiritual realm operating alongside our physical world. It describes organized heavenly armies, territorial conflicts, divine assignments, legal authority, and the powerful role of prayer. The Bible also teaches that believers are not abandoned within this conflict. Jesus spoke of angels assigned to watch over his people. The psalmists celebrated God's protection. The apostles encouraged persistence in prayer. Again and again, Scripture points to the reality that God's purposes continue, even when they cannot yet be seen. The greatest danger may not be opposition itself. The greatest danger may be discouragement, the temptation to stop praying, the temptation to assume nothing is happening. Daniel's story reminds us that faith often continues long before visible results appear. And sometimes the breakthrough arrives after the season of waiting seems longest. The spirit realm is not presented in Scripture as a fantasy or a distant theory. It is a reality woven throughout the biblical story. Whether through prayer, faith, or perseverance, believers are invited to trust that God is at work even when they cannot see it. If this video encouraged you, share your thoughts and testimony in the comments. Subscribe for more biblical deep dives, and join us next time as we uncover another fascinating mystery hidden within Scripture.